So I made a TikTok video about 10 days ago that went viral, and I had to turn off the comments and practically delete the video because it went so viral and it went so crazy that people started fighting in my comment section. And I've never had this happen before. It was so strange to me because it wasn't an inflammatory video at all. I was simply talking about the changes that have arrived as a hairstylist in 2025, having been a hairstylist since the year 2000, 2000-ish, 2001, 2. So I've been doing hair for over 20 years, and I have seen a lot of changes. And one of those changes has been that in the state of California, we no longer have to take a practical examination to become a hairstylist. So I was talking about that on TikTok, and I didn't think anybody was even going to see it. I was wrong. And I started thinking about this and wondering, why did this video, this seemingly nonchalant video, go so viral? And I started combing through all of my other posts and all of my other videos, and I noticed the only difference about this particular video was me talking about hairstylists. And then I started really looking at the comments, really inspecting and reading deeply. And I noticed that the people in the comment section were either 100% pro hairstylists, and the other half were hairstylist haters. I'm talking like deeply despising hairdressers specifically. The hair industry was a secondary hatred. And I thought, wow, this is exactly why when I decided to change my career, I did not leave the art of hairstyling behind me, because there is a whole entire underworld and underbelly of being a hairstylist that people will never understand. Unless you are a hairstylist, you will never understand it. And honestly, I just couldn't leave my comrades and be out of the loop and not feel a part of this very complex and sometimes problematic world. I couldn't leave it, not fully. And I couldn't leave my clients, who absolutely have become a very important part of my life. A part of my life that I just am not willing nor ready to be apart from. I've always been a different hairstylist. And now that I look back, I think I've always actually been a therapeutic hairstylist. I haven't really changed a lot about what I do and how I do it, except for I now name what I'm doing. I acknowledge it. When you sit in my chair, you're not attracted to me as a hairstylist because I am skilled, although I am. I mean, look, I'm really good at my job. I know this about myself. There are not very many things I can say that about, but this is one of them. It's not because I am very skilled. It's more than that. It has to do with my intuition. It has to do with my energy. It has to do with how I protect my energy and yours, and how I teach and educate, how I care for the scalp, but mostly how I care for the whole entire person. Everything about you, I am interested and curious about. I'm interested in how often you wash your hair. I'm interested in what you're washing your hair with. I'm interested in your relationship with your hair. How was your relationship with your hair as a child? Did anything weird happen to you and your hair growing up? Do you have anxiety around your hair? Do you express yourself around your image, or do you suppress your image? There's so much information about you based on how you feel about your hair. And I've always acknowledged that as a hairstylist, but I've never actually spoken it out loud, not to my clients. It's been an internal conversation where I'll say, okay, I can see this person is very engaged with themselves, they're looking at themselves, or they're averting their eyes. I notice all of these things, I always have. But now I use them because I have studied now the human consciousness and I've studied the subconscious. And when I decided whether or not I was going to leave the hair world behind and just be a clinical hypnotherapist, or if I was going to try the harder route and do a little bit of both, I decided that I was going to have to do a lot of this work in my own way, with my own self, and my own understanding of my hair and my relationship with my hair, and how that relationship is continuing to change and grow, and sharing those things about my own hair and my own hair journey. One of the reasons why I feel like that post went so viral is because people's image is attached to something so much more than just the way that they look. It's attached to their mental health, to their physical health, to their spirit, if that's something that you get into. It's attached to the wholeness of who you are. And when you're talking about that, and you're talking about the keepers of that, which are hairdressers, people, they can't. They're something so deep, so primal, and so subconscious comes through, and they must say how they feel. As an Aquarian, my presence has often been kind of inflammatory, sometimes divisive, sometimes provocative. But this one really surprised me because it really did not feel like it should have been this big of a deal. I came up with this term a long time ago, years and years ago, when I was a teacher, and I call it Trichic Transference. I made this up because I was looking for a term or a phrase that I could teach my students, and I couldn't find one, and there's still not one. If you've ever done this before, you're going to know immediately. If you're a hairstylist, you already know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to finish the sentence, and you already know what I'm talking about. Basically, what this means is there are people that have this uncontrollable urge. Maybe even urge is not even the right word. Maybe it's more like impulse to change their hair. And some people, it will happen when they're drinking or when they're getting stoned with their friends or whatever it is. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got drunk and cut my hair last night. And then I woke up and this is the result. For some people, it's just such a deep urge that they will just stop what they're doing and literally like go grab a pair of scissors like that and just start hacking their hair. Some people will say, I need to change my hair color right now. And they'll go to Sally's Beauty Supply and buy a bunch of bleach and start throwing it all over their hair without knowing exactly what they're doing. And it, in my experience, starts really young. Like it'll start at teenage years. It'll start to feel like I need to change something, right? I need to explore my image. And some people grow out of it, but some people don't. And as you grow up, this trichic transference starts to change and move and starts to look different. So sometimes people will go through a big breakup and change their hair in a big, huge way. Some people will have someone pass away, change their hair in a big, huge way. Some people are just feeling really stagnant and they can't stop this cycle that they're on. So they say, I'm going to make a big, big change in my hair. And some people, it looks like changing their hair. And then in some people, it looks like never changing their hair or always coming back to that same thing that they've always done, where they desperately want to change their hair, but they're anxiety or their fear or something hinders the process. And so the work that I do is typically with people who experience trichic transference. I'm not a regular hairstylist. There are a gazillion hairstylists that you can go to that do traditional hair. I am not one of them. I have chosen not to do traditional hair anymore because this is much more needed. There are less people who are doing hair in this capacity and in this way. So I want to talk about this because I want people that are experiencing trichic transference not to feel like they're alone and not to feel like they're weird, but also to know that there might be something deeper happening. And if that person wants to experience the acknowledgement and working with that rather than just kind of ignoring it and pretending like it's not in the room, then I want to let people know that that is what I do. B, I want to know if there are other hairstylists that are interested in doing work in this way and talking about it, because I would really love to share resources, share knowledge, share information, and maybe even have a group of people that I can refer people to that have good, strong ethics and a really strong technical background, right? Because I feel like it's more than just being able to hold space, but it's also about healing work that you've already done as a hairstylist. And then also being able to have anyone sit in your chair, regardless of who they are and what their hair texture is, being able to hold that down. There's so many moving parts to doing this work that I feel like it's going to take really special hairstylists. That, not that other hairstylists are not special, because I think that every single hairstylist on this planet is a healing practitioner, okay? But it's going to take a different type of person that wants to do this work. And let me tell you something. If you are one of those hairstylists that's like, bitch, I am trying to clock in, do my work, clock out, and GTFO, I have to tell you that not only do I respect you, but I admire you. I have always wanted to be one of those hairstylists. I am not one. I am not. So there's something really healthy about that, in my opinion. So I'm not saying that not doing this is any less than, but I'm just saying that if there are other hairstylists that are interested in this and they are passionate about helping people, not just with their image, but also deeper in a more meaningful and healing way, I feel like I have uncovered and unlocked some really cool ways to be able to do that. Whether the person is going more indigenous, more spiritual, more mental health, or more subconscious, or more scientific, there's a way that we can show up and meet the person where they are and have more of a therapeutic approach. So I'm coming out to help people understand a little bit more about some of the work that I do, but also some of the work I think a lot of other hairstylists are doing as well in their own way. And I want to know who you are. I want to start conversations around this. If you are someone who experiences trichic transference, I would love to hear your story. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being my friends. And I hope that you are having a beautiful healing journey. Mwah.